What's up, y'all? It's your boy Richie Scott. We are back in the building. Okay, we are here, reality talk with the Sky Squad. We are talking about our favorite reality TV shows. We got some news and some tea on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Vanderpump Rules. So sit down, saddle up, and let's get ready to go. Now, just a word from the studio here. I am still in the bed. Y'all ever just needed like a day off or something like that? Well, I am taking somewhat of a day off from being on camera. I just wanted to kind of relax today and just maybe sit by the pool or do something nice for myself or whatever. But anyway, we still gonna bring you this tea for you to snack on, okay? Because that's exactly what BRANDI Glanville wants y'all to do. She wants y'all to snack on this. And let me tell you something. BRANDI Glanville is playing in our faces, okay? She's playing in Denise's face. She is playing in Aaron Piper's face. That is, and Aaron is, in case y'all don't know, Aaron is Denise's husband, okay? So anyway, this past weekend, I don't know what she was responding to or what she was, it just seemed to come out of nowhere, a random tweet that says, making dinner for my fam/neighbors, hashtag snack on this. And then it's a picture of what looks to be her and Denise Richards kissing, okay? Now, it looks like it was some sort of selfie. I don't know why somebody would take this selfie or why it exists like this in this frame. I cannot for certain say that it's Denise Richards, but it certainly does look like it. And it looks like BRANDI is wearing the same thing that she had on from her appearance when she was on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills last season when she met up with Denise Richards and she greeted her with, "Hey, kitty cat," okay? And so the next thing you know, maybe they got a little happy with the hands after drinking all those tequilas, because it seems as though this is some type of implication about their alleged shenanigans now, okay? Now, apparently, it was an alleged months-long affair between the two of them that was reported back in January. She implied that they hooked up numerous times, okay? Then, while hosting her podcast in April, she appeared to imply that it was just a one-time thing. So I'm like, okay, the story seems to be changing several times throughout, and I'm like, okay, what's up? What's really good? So BRANDI said this on her podcast I think this was like one of the last things that she said, maybe back in April. She said, honestly, she was a down-to-earth girl. We had a fun night. We drank too much. We made out. It's not a big deal. And then something in her changed, and it was just, I don't know. I figured it out, but I don't want to say what it is. Okay. Now, I'm kind of like this. What really happened? I need to know the tea on what really happened. Because here's the thing. This whole situation not only is impactful to just Denise and her reputation, because, honestly, if she, as we are seeing her portray herself, wanting to be portrayed on the show as, a good mom, and trying to shield her children from certain conversation, which is her right, especially in her own home. Like, you can't, if somebody comes over to your home, you have the right to shield your kids from adult conversations. To me, she is valid in that degree. But with that being said, since the ladies already feel like she's trying to portray herself in a certain light, especially with regards to her kids, then it makes her look a little bit more scandalous. And wild things like if she was having this alleged affair with BRANDI, who on the show, in the clips, in the preview, made it seem like they had relations. Not just made out. Made out and relations are two different things. When somebody say made out, I'm assuming they mean kiss. When you say, relations or use the F word, then I'm assuming that you mean hanky-panky that goes beyond making out. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Okay, so for me, I'm like, I don't know about it. I'm trying to figure it out. What's really the tea on the situation. But the other thing about it that I was about to say was that it's also impactful to Denise's marriage as well, because if this whole thing happened and she didn't want him to know, if it did happen allegedly, and she didn't want him to know. Now it's out there in public, and so it makes him look crazy unless he is willing to say that they had an open relationship, which it doesn't sound like they do, apparently, according to Denise. So it seems like, dang, like, and there's been all these news and reports that have come out about how he is sick with, humiliation with this whole situation, and rightfully so. I mean, rightfully so if you think about it, but I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Brandi said that we won't find that situation won't kind of blow up until about 3 weeks from, I'm assuming, when the show comes back on, which is I think on July the 8th. So we got probably another month to go before we even hear any little bit about this whole situation creeping up on the show. Let's move on, because I want to discuss this whole situation with Vanderpump Rules. Now, you guys know that Stassi, Max, and I think his name was Brent, and Kristen Dowdy. I have been pronouncing her name wrong. It's Dowdy, I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong. I know you guys will down below. They were fired. Bravo didn't explicitly state why, but it was implied that it was as a result of, Kristen and Stassi sort of bragging about how they tried to have Faith Stowers arrested, and Faith Stowers being a black woman arrested for something that she really didn't do. And really the danger in that is, as we have seen so often in these past couple of weeks / months, is that when the police are called unnecessarily on a black person, it tends to be harmful to black people's lives. Okay. So that is why that whole incident was foul, because that could have ended a whole different way for Faith. But anyway, after they've been fired, apparently people are signing some type of petition to sort of bring them back on the show on Vanderpump Rules, specifically because they were such a big part of the show. So I'm assuming fans want to see them come back for whatever reason or another. I don't know. I just feel like you need to throw the whole show away at this point. I've watched it on and off for the past couple of years. I know exactly who the players are. I know most of what's going on the show. And I just kind of feel like this is probably something that you just need to, just cut it loose and start fresh with something new. But anyway, she's in the news because she shared something that she basically shared this notion that cancel culture is responsible for her being fired, and it's something that needs to be looked at. Now, I told you the people who were responsible for this petition that's going around are stating that they need to be brought back to the show so that they can have an impactful conversation about why they were wrong for taking those actions, and they can use that as a learning moment and a teachable moment. I do agree that Bravo needs to make it a public teachable moment, but I don't necessarily know that I agree with bringing them back, because I just kind of feel like those actions were so egregious. It's one thing to make us, to do something wrong, but it's another thing that to be explicitly trying to destroy a person's life. I just feel like when you go that far, I feel like that's kind of like, it just gets into a weird place for me. But anyway, here's what it was. So it was an interview that was done with Jamila Jamil, okay? Now, she's a talk show host. She's an activist and a model. She had a conversation with Trevor Noah on The Daily Show, and she basically said this. She said, the thing that we are sometimes searching for in our society is moral purity, and we're just never going to find that. All you find is progress and not perfection. So that's what we should all be striving towards. If we completely cut people down every time they show their ignorance, or they make a mistake, or they made a mistake 10 years ago, then people are going to feel there is no value in learning or progressing whatsoever, because you're punished forever for the sin that you no longer stand by. So if you haven't done irrevocable harm, I think you should be allowed the opportunity to learn and grow and do better. Now, according to Jamila, she was given a chance after she exhibited signs of problematic thinking, and because of it, she was able to educate herself and get to a place where she uses her platform to help others who have been marginalized. She says, thank God I didn't get canceled because I got better, okay? And so Kristen Dowdy posted this interview and basically, you know, was, I guess, posting it because she's offered an apology and to her fans and to her followers and to Faith Stowers publicly. But my thing about it is they never apologized directly to this woman before the public apologies. So it was almost like they were only trying to get in contact with her to apologize to her because they had been called out on the actions. It's like the first person that you should go to, even before you make that public statement, is to Faith. And I feel like that's how you show that you can learn and grow before you even go to the public with it, because you did this to her. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's just, I mean, I'm just giving y'all the news as it's jumping off with some of our favorite reality television shows. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell button. And do you think that Brandi and Denise really had a thing? Why do you think Brandi is playing in our faces like this? Also, do you guys think that Kristen and Stassi should have been fired, and that they should have, or that they should have stayed on the show and been forced to learn publicly from this whole situation? Personally, I feel like, again, it's probably time to cancel that whole show at this point. And that is not saying this as a part of cancel culture. I just think that the show is fractured on so many levels, and there's so much problematic behavior there that it would be best to probably start fresh, find new talent, especially because we're entering a new day and age. I wish everybody much success as they move on to their new endeavors. I just think it's time to start anew. But that's my thoughts on this situation. Let me know what you think down below. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button down below. Hit that notification bell button, and I will see you in the next video.